Blissful day, everybody. Welcome, sorcerers, to the video about connecting with your familiar. And if you're asking, what is a familiar, Zane? A familiar is basically a companion, a spiritual companion that takes physical form in a animal vessel. So we see this in like cats, rats, snakes, spiders, owls. Think about Harry Potter and how Harry had an owl and Ron had a rat. Okay, these are familiars. And if you've never seen the Harry Potter series, that's okay because I'm about to teach you about what it is. And familiars have deep spiritual significance and connection to you and your spirit in this life. These are animals that have very, very strong human type characteristics, very communicative in the way that they speak to you, whether they speak to you in your dreams. You might notice them heavy around your altar. When I first got Luna, she was always on my altar. I could not keep her away from my ritual work. And then even in the dream realms, I would see Luna protecting me. If Luna is showing up in a dream, I know that she's giving me a deep message about what I'm noticing in the dream. Okay, so there's a lot of spiritual work that goes on between you and your familiar. And even y'all might have seen in my ritual work where Luna is sitting next to the flames, sitting next to my candles. This is very intentional for Luna. And that is very common for energies and spirits that coexist in the vessels of these familiars. Very intentional work. So I love this because I did not realize that Luna was going to be my familiar until I connected with her. And she was the first kitten I locked eyes with when I pulled up to this space that was giving away free kittens. And just so happens she was the feistiest of the bunch. She was... You'll also notice as you move forward the synchronicity of things, right? And so a little backstory, my roommate at the time, Luna is my first familiar and pet, or companion. If you don't like to call them pets, I don't really like to call them pets, but companion that I have received during adulthood. Like I had animals when I was younger, but this Luna is my first and only that I have kept as an adult. And when we pulled up to the spot to get these free kittens, Luna and I just immediately connected, and I knew that she was the one. And I was holding her in my lap as I was driving back home, and it was a full moon. And I looked up and I said, I think I'm going to name her Luna. And she also has fur that represents the moon, like very dark, some light spots. She gives very much so the phases of the moon in her fur. And I love that. Like, I just knew that she was a Luna. And then I pulled her birth chart based on the closest that I could find was her birthday. And she is an Aries all the way across the board. And I have an Aries moon. So in astrology, my moon is Aries, and Luna, the representation of the moon, is an Aries all across the board. She very much so represents my inner. She represents what is going on internally with me and this inner moon magic, right? Very whimsical, very, very majestic type of energy. And everybody who meets Luna says she is a person. Like, she is a person, okay? She has very strong characteristics of humans and can open doors, can move things, very communicative. So you'll notice that these synchronicities may be very prevalent with your familiar. And it's quite a very beautiful experience to have because the companionship that you have with a familiar is a very strong soul bond. It is something that cannot be broken by separation, by replacing them, none of that. I mean, you can have other familiars, but that soul imprint with that particular energy and spirit is one of a kind. So let's get into it. So look, I don't need to call forth any more familiars. So I'm just going to give you guys the basic rundown of how to do it. All right. So first, of course, you're going to cleanse and protect your space. You're going to do it over yourself. You're going to open up room to receive your familiar. When I called in my familiar, I was just moving into my house and I had finally room. I was not homeless. I was not, and not saying that you can't manifest familiars with certain circumstances, but that's your business. And I'm just saying be very careful about when and where you manifest your familiar, because there's a lot of you want to check in with your spirit to make sure that that is ethical. I'll say that, moral. Because when I called forth Luna, I was going through a very heavy time in my life, but I did make room for her to live somewhere. And Luna and I have been through a lot of things together, but that's a part of the soul contract between you and that being. So just make sure that it's within your contract, that your circumstances are for you to be in the correct space for you to receive the familiar. Sometimes familiars come to us without us calling them forth. Okay, so we don't really have to look for them. A lot of the times they will naturally be drawn to you. If you have a black dog, just keep coming up to your house and following you around, and you can't find the owner anywhere. This is probably, and you just feel a deep connection with this black dog, then maybe that's your familiar. Okay, maybe that's Anubis, who knows? All right. So then after you have cleansed and opened up the space to receive your familiar, and you've meditated on it, you've kind of sat with what the intention is for you to receive, you're going to go for a walk in nature. You're going to go for a walk in nature where you feel led to. And you're going to locate a tree that calls to you. Okay? Trees are amazing communicators with the ecosystem. Their roots all connect. So one tree can connect to all trees. One tree can communicate and get your message across to many other spaces in the world. All right? So you're going to locate a tree that you feel connected to, and you're going to meditate with your hand on that tree. Use your left hand. This is your receiving hand. And you can use both hands and place your intention with your right, but make sure that when you're meditating, you're open to receive. And you're saying, this is my intention to receive. Okay? And you're going to state your intention to that tree with your familiar being brought to your path as the intention. So you're going to meditate, hold the tree, and you're going to say, thank you for bringing forth my familiar to my life and on my path to assist me in XYZ. Okay? Then you are going to nurture your relationship with this tree. You can bring offerings on the first day, but I have seen where sometimes you meet a tree and the tree is like, I don't want to do that. All right? Trees, very much so, just like anything else, nature has its own will. And so you want to make sure that your intention is received by the tree, and then you're going to bring offerings that are eco-friendly. Okay, don't start bringing offerings that don't what is that? You don't want to bring a lot of plastic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want it to be ethical. You don't want it to stop the tree's growth or any of that. All right? If you're going to bring food, make sure it can decompose. That's the word I was looking for. Make sure that it can decompose. Make sure that it's nourishing. You can bring things that are symbolic. You can bring charms, okay, like silver, metal. These things are still widely accepted by nature because metal is a natural part of the world that we live in. So think about your elements. Think about the materials that coincide and coexist in nature. And you can even bring maybe some plant food. Maybe you can plant a new tree in that area. Okay? You want to think about how are you nurturing the space in which you have requested something from. This is going to make sure that you are declaring the seriousness and sincerity of your work. All right? As you leave them at the tree, you're going to ask for your familiar to be shown to you by meditation, vision, or dream. So that way you can kind of understand who your familiar is going to be before they come, and you can prepare for them. Okay, you can prepare for them. Then you'll give it time. You'll keep feeding the tree until you feel like you don't need to anymore. And you will say thank you. And you will say, now I wait for my familiar's arrival. And during that time, your familiar will appear. Continue to nurture yourself, your space. Continue to set your intentions. Continue to envision all of the joyous aspects of companionship, because your familiars are a companion for you. They're an extension of you in this way, and they're so amazing. They contribute so much to our lives, and they do so much to make sure that we are just coexisting in the most beautiful space. But just like your familiar is going to take care of you, you need to be ready to take care of your familiar. Okay, I had a lot of karmic aspects come up when it came to Luna, because I received Luna, and then a few months later I was living out of my car, homeless, like going place to place, Airbnb, and 2017 was just a really tough year for me. That was a very strong awakening year for me, with my gifts and abilities and circumstances and people that I kept around me. So Luna went through a lot of BS with me. There was even a point where I thought about letting Luna go. And I had to leave Luna in the care of other people at some point. And it was very traumatic because I didn't want to be away from Luna. Like the soul connection is so deep. Luna didn't want to be away from me either. So I'm grateful for the people that allowed me and Luna to reunite and to come back into a safe space. And it just, Luna and I's stability has not always been there. And so when I finally came to my senses and started evaluating the space that I had been through, like what I had been through, and processing that and realizing the impact of Luna, what that had on Luna, y'all, I prayed to Bassett so many times. I see Bassett channeled through Luna a lot. And Bassett told me, if you want to forgive yourself for this, you need to make changes and make sure that Luna is stable and that you are caring for her with the highest quality life that you can possibly muster. And that was very serious for me. I'm getting teary-eyed, like thinking about that experience, because I wanted to heal and I wanted to contribute to holding a space for Luna to heal from the things that we had been through. And Luna was a little jaded. Luna loved me, but Luna was a little jaded by the things that we had been through. And it's just like nurturing a relationship with a person. There has to be trust, you know. So I'm super grateful we're in the space that we are now, because, I promised Luna, like, we would be safe, we would be stable, and I would provide a life that was joyous for her. And in thanks and in gratitude for all that she has done for me and continues to do for me, and the companionship that she offers, and just her being herself. Like, it is truly an honor to be in her presence and to experience her, to witness her. And I thank Spirit for her every day. And so, like I said, it's a very deep connection. It's very real. And it is a connection that you will not want to put anything above, and to just nurture. And please care for your familiars. Please care for them. Please love on them. And if you hold any regret from the past about how you've handled a familiar before, just say thank you, and learn from the things that you can change, and continue to nurture yourself, because in that nurturing, in that love, you will learn how to love another. And Luna teaches me so much about love every day. She teaches me about autonomy, about having her own choice. I don't treat Luna like how people treat their animals or treat their companions. I treat her like she's a person, like a being, and I respect her. There's a mutual respect that takes place between us, and I'm so thankful for that. So that is my familiar story. That's how to attract a familiar. Very simple, easy steps. Just make sure that you are in the space to receive, and that you are willing to nurture that connection wholeheartedly with love. I love you. The divine loves you. May your familiar find you with ease.